Sci-fi.
Red alert!
The red alert. Commander Riker is in the house. Sci-fi fans are spending the next several days at Paul Allen Cinerama Theater enjoying the Sci-Fi Film Festival. And if you're a Trekkie, you're going to particularly enjoy Sunday's film, Star Trek First Contact. It'll be screened at noon, followed by a Q&A with the man who directed it and starred, Mr. Jonathan Frakes. As Commander Riker, Jonathan has spent more time on the Enterprise deck than just about anyone, appearing in 4 different versions of the series, as well as big screen movies and even this popular Star Trek video game. You'll find a link to all the info about the Sci-Fi Film Festival, which runs through May 12th at bobrivers.com. Jonathan Frakes, welcome back to 95.7 KGR in Seattle, sir.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you, guys and gals.
You bet. And we had a little, we've got it all straightened out now, but we had a little incident in Seattle last night. Every May Day, the kids get together, and I wouldn't call it a riot, but
dust up.
A little dust up. But
a little dust up. I heard about it on the news on another channel.
Yeah,
a very peaceful demonstration in L.A. for a change.
Oh, really? So they do.
We are prone to riots, and you aren't.
Yeah, that's right. So they do May Day down there too, huh?
Yes, to celebrate or try to celebrate the immigration.
Right. Well, maybe if the Clippers can keep winning, maybe you'll get a bona fide riot before it's all over.
Boy, oh boy, they couldn't pull it out last night.
Yeah, that's a shame. And it's a shame everything that's happened with that team, because they're a good basketball team. You know, when you get past all the stuff that's gone on around them the last week, it's one of those teams people have been waiting for a long time for them to win, and they're finally winning.
Yeah, it's very true. It's an unfortunate and hideous situation that the owner has put them all in.
Yeah, well, you're coming up here, and I know a ton of people are excited to meet you. There may be just a couple tickets left, and we're going to put a link to it. Another thing that was in the news this week, Jonathan, that you probably saw, is NASA bestowed another Starship alumni, Captain Kirk, William Shatner, its highest civilian honor that they can give. NASA gave William Shatner an honor, and I was wondering, what's the coolest non-entertainment business award that has been bestowed on you? Do you have any plaques for dog rescue or anything like that?
I don't have any plaques for dog rescue, no. But the NASA thing reminds me of when the late, great Gene Roddenberry was failing. He asked me once to go and deliver one of his speeches, and I met a lot of the astronauts. There was at the Science Center in Chicago, actually, and his speech was about the importance of returning to the moon, and it was a great night. No plaque for dogs, but I segued into a little Roddenberry memorabilia.
Mm-hmm. You got to write First Contact with Gene, am I right?
I got to direct it. He was gone by then. He
Oh.
was with us for the first 4 seasons of the show.
Okay.
He created the show and then sadly got sick.
How is it to direct yourself, to give yourself criticism? Do you have to step aside and say, Jonathan, you got to do that again?
One take, I did it perfect again.
Yeah. It's an interesting process. You really do have to separate yourself from that instinct of saying, God, it's horrible. Did I really say it that way? I look horrible. The acting sucks. And you find a few people on the sets you trust. Generally, the director of photography. In my case, I had Patrick Stewart, who's a pretty decent actor, and LeVar Burton was also a director. So I'd catch their eyes, and I'd get a sort of hand sign or like a third base coach, give you the go for another take or you're okay.
As a director, what would you really like to take a shot at directing that you haven't yet? Do you fancy comedy or a history piece? Is there person in history you're fascinated by you'd like to do a movie about?
I'm dying to do a comedy. I got to say, it's my strongest suit, unbeknownst to most people. But it's a genre that's hard to break into when you're known for shooting Klingons on green screen.
Right. Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, to be funny, to do comedy, and like if you're good at it, you ought to do it, because there's plenty of guys that aren't good at it that are out there trying.
Well, I'm reminded of that wonderful movie Galaxy Quest, which was a spoof of the Star Trek world.
Best. It was the best. Yeah.
It was brilliant, and they captured that. And I've always wanted to make a movie like that.
Oh, I would love to see a movie like that. I was wondering, too, another thing that came out in the news this week, as a Star Trek guy, they announced the cast of the new Star Wars film. How do you feel about J.J. Abrams being lured over by the Force and all those Disney dollars to do Star Wars instead of another Star Trek next?
Well, I actually think J.J. is an incredible storyteller. I'm a big fan. I think that franchise is in very good hands. Look what he did for our franchise.
Oh, yeah.
We were buried after the movie Nemesis. We went dark for 4 or 5 years, and he reinvented it. He rebooted it in a way that has made it incredibly successful. New cast, new stories, of course, he had tons of money, which
Yeah.
we never had in our movie. But I'm a big J.J. fan. I think he's going to do great. I think he's very smart to blend some of the classic, Carrie and Harrison Ford and Peter Mayhew and others in with a new cast. I think it's a genius approach.
Well, I'm glad there are still great science fiction movies being made, like the latest Star Trek and the upcoming Star Wars. The movie you made, Star Trek First Contact, will be screened at the Sci-Fi Film Festival, and tons of other sci-fi movies. I don't know if you've had a chance to be at the Cinerama Theater before. Paul Allen rebuilt this thing in all its glory, and it's a great place to watch a movie. I was wondering, what are some of your favorite sci-fi movies from the past? Were you a fan of the genre before you yourself became a science fiction character?
They're actually screening one of them. Alien and Aliens are two of my all-time favorites, and Blade Runner, which I think was genius.
Yeah, those are good. And Tom Skerritt is going to be.
I hear.
Yeah,
Skerritt's the local though, isn't he?
He's here. I shouldn't say he's going to be coming here because he's always here, but he's going to be part of the festivities down there as well. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, Jonathan, is you're featured on one of my favorite CDs, Hoist by Fish. You play the trombone on there.
You have been doing your research, man.
Well,
by that we mean bong hits listening to Fish albums. Yeah.
Well, I'd always heard the song, and I never really thought about it, on the album that was named after you and everything. But I never realized that you actually played on that. How did you hook up with Trey and those guys?
The producer of that album, Paul Fox, was my next door neighbor, and when they were rehearsing at his house, I used to have a mailbox up Lookout Mountain that was shaped like a cow, but it had been hit by so many cars it was all lit up. So the mailbox was quite infamous. They knew I played trombone. They invited me into the studio. When I got there, I was not the trombone player that they had hoped I would be.
Oh.
No dreadlocks, standing up straight.
They were generous enough to keep the outtakes and call it Riker's mailbox, and then they went back and hired that great trombone player from Tower of Power who actually did the cut that I was meant to do. So it was a happy accident.
Have you ever been up on stage with those guys?
No, but I've been to John Fishman used to live in the same town we live in Maine.
Uh-huh.
So my son got to sit at his drum set, which was kind of a thrill.
Oh my God.
We've got a little bit right here.
Again, this is not Jonathan Frakes on the slide trombone. Oh my God!
As a trombone player, do you everybody can say, "Oh, this is my favorite guitar player. This is my favorite drummer." Trombones are kind of an acquired taste, and there aren't that many household names. We got a local guy named Randy Oxford. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but I think he's one of the best. Do you have somebody you'd like to give a trombone shout out to that really does it well?
I was a big fan of J.J. Johnson, and there's a wonderful trombone player named Bill Watrous, who I think is a genius. And you know the definition of an optimist?
What's that?
A trombone player with a beeper. Listen, I'm going to jump on the plane, you guys. I'm out of here.
Well, we'll let
Jonathan.
you go. Commander Riker, Jonathan Frakes, he's boarding a plane on the way to Seattle. He will be here Sunday.
I'll see you guys Sunday.
Yep,
Yes,
Sunday at noon at the big sci-fi convention down there at the Cinerama. Thanks so much for joining us, Jonathan. Don't miss your plane. And
Pleasure's mine. I'm on my way to Portland, actually. I got to start the librarians in Portland today, and then I'll be in Seattle on Sunday.
right on, working your way up the coast.
Thank you, man.
All right, thank you. Have a good one, sir.